I started playing video games at the age of 4. My first video game experience was on a Pong clone that my dad had brought home. It wasn't long after that I started to check out standalone coin-operated games, either in small arcades or sometimes in stores. Some of my earliest gaming memories are of shooting ships, Space Invaders, Galaxian, Vanguard. Then that would give way to Gradius and Life Force and Raiden and Axelay on the Super Nintendo, and Fire Shark and Truxton. All of these games I've really enjoyed over the years, even though I have not been the best player at these. It took me lots of practice to be able to get any good at Axelay. And my success with Galaga really happened during my adult years. I didn't play much Galaga in arcades until I was a teenager. And even after that, I really didn't get good at it until I could play the game whenever I wanted without quarters, thanks to Namco Museum. The game I'm going to be opening for this episode of Unsealed is not a retro game in and of itself. As a matter of fact, it's a game that just released this past weekend. It is a game that was unexpected in a series that has been dormant for quite some time, and a series that I am just not very good at. But I like supporting the genre. I like supporting the STG or shoot 'em up or shooter or shmup genre, whatever you want to call it. I like buying games in that particular genre. The game I'm going to be opening in this episode of Unsealed is R-Type Final 2. Now, I knew that this game was coming out, and as soon as I heard that there was going to be a physical copy, I wanted to make sure that I got it. What I wasn't aware of is that this is like a limited launch edition thing, and there's some extra goodies that come with this. Now, my history with R-Type is pretty checkered. I remember playing R-Type in arcades, and I sucked. I maybe got to the boss of the first stage, and that was as far as I got. Even when it came out for the TurboGrafx 16, my skill in the game really did not improve. Super R-Type for the Super Nintendo, I played that. I own it still in my library. And again, my success level with the game is very low. It didn't really get any better, or at least I didn't make a lot more progress until R-Type Dimensions came out for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 and now the Nintendo Switch, where I was able to play through that without worrying about continues or things like that, where you weren't penalized depending on what difficulty you played at. But I've played other R-Type games too. I played R-Type Delta for the PlayStation, which I think was fantastic. R-Types for the PlayStation is another game that I believe is a combination of the first two. Those games, by the way, if you're looking to collect those for the original PlayStation, just stupid expensive now. R-Type Final came out for the PlayStation 2, was published by Eidos under its Fresh Games label. I do have that, but it's disc only, which is why I'm not showing it off in this particular episode. And this is the sequel to that Fresh Games release. So it says here on the back of the box, it says Upgrade, Evolve, Destroy. You can also see all of the goodies there in the box. We're going to take a look at what's in there in just a moment. It says here, the legendary side-scrolling series returns. Experience classic shoot-'em-up gameplay with 3D visuals and an abundance of features. Includes R-Type Final 2 official soundtrack. I'm excited about that. Has some artwork from R-Type Final 2 in a softcover art book and a collector's box, which I think is what this guy is right here. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to open this up, see if there's any kind of documentation in there. I have been meaning to open this up all weekend, but I just didn't for some reason. So I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. We're going to talk about it a little bit. This will not be a long episode by any stretch, but just to be able to open this up and take a look what's on the inside, I think is going to be the whole point here. That's really what an unboxing or an unsealing is just kind of seeing what is on the inside. This was $50 from Best Buy. I used some of my Best Buy certificates to get the price down on this. Actually, I've had this pre-ordered for about a month. I got the ukulele in the Impossible Lair game from Best Buy as well. So this is the cardboard box. It is cardboard. I don't know what is on the inside here. We're going to take a look together. So when we open up the case here, we're just going to slide this out. So there is another box on the inside of the box. And this box has some interesting artwork, as you can see, on both the front and the back. The Inaugural Flight Edition. And when we break it down further, oh yeah, there's more stuff in here. So when we break this down further, we have three things. First, we have the R-Type Final 2 game. I've already bought the DLC for this. There are more stages are going to be coming out between now and I believe the end of June. So I already have that all locked and loaded and ready to go. So I've just been waiting to open up the game. When we take a look at the game itself, and the game for whatever reason is like locked in this cardboard sleeve, it does say pretty much the same thing. Granzilla, I think, is the development team behind this. NIS America is the publisher. I don't think there is much in here if we open this up. I think it's just going to be the card, because we don't see a lot of instruction manuals in games anymore unless we're getting them from like Limited Run or something like that. But we'll go ahead and open this up anyway, just to kind of see whether there is anything in there or not. When we open it up, yep, it's just the Switch card and a warranty, and that is it. So there's no instruction manual, sadly. I'm sure there's one online that I can look at when the time comes. We also have a soundtrack disc here, which is sealed. It has like the plastic tab on it. We have 11 tracks here, so this is a nice addition. I'm a big fan of video game music, so it's nice to kind of have a CD with some of the game's music on there. I have not heard it yet, so I'll talk about the soundtrack maybe on Twitter or something in the not-too-distant future. And then we have the artwork of R-Type Final 2. It is a soft cover art book. It is in color. It looks really cool, honestly. Not only does it show off art, but talking about some of the inspirations for the game. So there is some interview work here. I believe this is probably going to be probably translated. Talking with Kazuma Kujo of Granzella Inc., who developed R-Type Delta and R-Type Finals. So this game was in good hands. That's actually pretty exciting. If you didn't know, the original R-Type is an IREM game, IREM being a publisher, and IREM no longer exists, at least in the form that it used to, which is why it took us a while to see IREM games like Moon Patrol, for example, make its way to Arcade Archives or anywhere else. As a matter of fact, the only way to play Moon Patrol in its arcade form before Arcade Archives got its hands on it, or before Hamster Corp got its hands on it, was to pick up a copy of Arcade's Greatest Hits Midway Collection 2, a game that I almost picked up for Unsealed, but I picked up something else a bit more exciting, and you'll see that very soon. So in the book, we have pictures of the game's art, as well as a pretty full interview with the game, with the head of development for the game. I believe this was kickstarted, if I'm not mistaken, so that is pretty cool. There are different fighters in the game from what this says. I don't want to give too much away for people who haven't played this. Although this is pretty good. What inspired you to stick with the arcade shoot-'em-up genre? Have you ever wanted to dabble in a video game genre outside of war and disaster themes? The answer is, it was never my intention to continually develop arcade shooter games, but if I feel there's value to creating it and bringing something fresh to the table as a chance of eliciting a response, then I simply make it. That's a pretty good answer. I like that. So this is really, really cool, honestly, and I will definitely wind up reading this all the way through at some point to kind of check out what the interview says. This is a really nice extra or addition. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. I don't know a lot about the game. I'm going to be going into it blind. I don't know how well it plays. I don't know a lot about the gameplay systems. So I'm going into this absolutely fresh, and we'll see how it pans out. So this was fun to do. Again, this is a really short episode. The real Unsealed episode for this coming week will be available when the mail arrives. I actually have a game that I want to open up for the next episode. I actually have one in mind. It'll be a double game episode. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, one of them is going to be a sealed PlayStation long box game from, I believe, 1996. So fingers crossed on that one that it arrives in the next few days. Until the next time, my friends, please take care of yourselves and each other. Thank you for watching this episode of Unsealed, and we will do it again really, really soon.